Welcome to In the News with Double O Des. I'm Des Bernardo, giving you my perspective on news from South Africa and the rest of the world. In the news now this morning, I want to just give an update on what is happening with the tobacco ban court case. And FITA has said very clearly that they are not negotiating with government and that they are awaiting the outcome of the court case and that this outcome would be mailed to them. Now, they said on Wednesday that they're expecting the judgment to be handed down, so I don't know how on earth they knew that. I don't also know how they knew that cigarettes will not be unbanned within this week. So if they know these things, I don't know how they can say that negotiations haven't taken place behind the scenes, because it makes absolutely no sense. You know, I like to look at logic and common sense. And in an article in the South African, it says cigarette ban, High Court still applying its mind, studying 6,000 pages. Now, when judges, and this is a full bench, have to study 6,000 pages, I mean, that can take months, and they have up to 2 months to actually rule in something like this. So normally when you apply your mind to something, or you're making excuses for something, 6,000 pages become a very good excuse. And the article is talking about the South Africans that are fired up over the cigarette ban. And remember that because it's a full bench, this judgment will likely not be challenged by government. And that is why negotiations is most likely what is happening behind the scenes. But in this article it says that the future of South Africa's controversial cigarette ban is still being deliberated by the North Gauteng High Court, which heard arguments from applicants and respondents on Wednesday 10th of June. So that's a long time ago. I mean, it's the 19th today, so we're talking 9 days now. South Africans were glued to their screens on Wednesday night as President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation. I already let you know before he addressed the nation that there was going to be no unbanning of tobacco. So I knew his speech was not going to give us anything like that. Previous briefings which followed government's initial lockdown proclamation in late March have been met with fierce public criticism. Ramaphosa's address on Wednesday 17th of June, which I've covered extensively in a previous video, which allowed for the further relaxation of regulations, was however welcomed by business owners. Obviously, anyone that can go back to business will be happy. While hairdressers, beauty salons, hotels, cinemas and even casinos ready for the return to the economy, South African smokers still await clarity on the hotly debated tobacco ban. Now, at this stage, like I said, I think they want to wait till level 2, because government made clear that at level 2 they will allow the sale of tobacco. And 2 people said this. The president said this, as well as one of the ministers. So we know that their plan is to unban cigarettes then. Whether it makes common sense or not, I think is irrelevant to them. So since the lockdown was first initiated on the 26th of March, NDZ, or Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, in a role as the chairman of the National Coronavirus Command Council, she has remained resolute in deciding herself, because of how she feels, that tobacco should be banned, because she hates smoking personally, and I mean, she said this openly. And she has decided that she will decide for you about your health, which is completely and utterly not only unconstitutional but dictatorial. There's nothing wrong dictating something to someone, as long as they still have the freedom to choose, which they are taking away. But you can choose not to listen to them. And people, like I've said yesterday, we were at the beach, people have taken to the beach, they've taken their masks off, they're running around, they're having fun. And government has actually said now, you know, but all these things are still in effect, even although the High Court said that level 3 and 4 regulations are unconstitutional, that it was suspended for 2 weeks. But Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma has not responded yet to them. So they have run out of the time to actually fix the regulations. Besides the fact that they are appealing the court case, they still need to come back to the court and say what they plan on doing. The tobacco ban is estimated to have cost government in excess of 35 million a day in loss of excise duties. Now, I'm not too concerned about that. The finances is not my focus. My focus is your right to choose to do something. And in your case, you can't choose to just walk into a shop now and buy cigarettes because it's a sale of cigarettes that's banned, not smoking. So this makes it more complicated for you. Arguably, the most contentious lockdown regulation, the prolonged cigarette ban, has been condemned by smokers, tobacco industry stakeholders and tax watchdogs alike. The latter argue that government's continued prohibition of tobacco has only served to enrich the underworld and fortify the country's criminal economy. And they would be 100% correct. How do you argue with that statement? Dlamini Zuma's primary argument to uphold the tobacco ban. Now we know that she has come up with all sorts of shenanigans, speaking about that she has scientific evidence. But then when they went to court, they didn't fight the scientific evidence because they had none. They couldn't base it on science. So even although the court submissions was based on science, so they based their arguments on the Constitution, which I said before was a very good decision to make and the best recourse for them, when FITA's arguments all revolved around the fact that science does not prove that COVID-19 is actually influenced by the fact that you smoke. Now, the fact that they chose the scientific route was the wrong option. They should have chosen the scientific route as well as the constitutional route. And the judge can only make decisions on what is before them in court. There was nothing wrong with their arguments, but they must have added a constitutional argument to it. So they weren't very well prepared for the court case, and the government made the best case they could, even as weak as that case might be. A full sitting of the North Gauteng High Court judges reserved judgment in the matter, and since then the uneasy silence which has dominated the week has left smokers on edge. Now, many of you who are my subscribers have asked me in the comments of many of my videos what's happening with the smoking ban. Now, I've spoken to certain people on the ground and they have told me that negotiations are taking place. So that this is what is happening, and the evidence suggests that FITA has denied that they are negotiating with government and that they are awaiting judgment, and because there's 6,000 pages submitted in total, it will take a long time. Now, that doesn't sound like someone that is really wanting to hurry up for people to get relief. They are saying, wait, it's going to take time. Cigarette ban. When will the court announce its decision? After debunking fake news that the court judgment had been in its favor, FITA pleaded for patience from anxious supporters. Now, like I said before, FITA does not represent you. FITA represents tobacco companies, and they have managed to get these tobacco companies to sell their cigarettes overseas. So these people are off their backs. So why on earth should they represent you? They don't care about you at all. Releasing a statement which coincided with Ramaphosa's Wednesday night address, FITA noted, and I went through this statement, I didn't want to deal with it at the time, because it was very clear that they must be talking to government. If they are actually releasing statements like this to back up what government is saying, do they think we are fools? They said, we understand the frustrations of the many people who have supported us during our challenging of the cigarette ban in relation to judgment in this matter. Let us all be mindful of the fact that the record in this matter is approximately 6,000 pages long, and the court has to apply its mind, taking this and many other factors into consideration. So FITA has come out, not only said this, but denied that they are negotiating with government or talking to government. It's obvious that they are. Very obvious. FITA further dismissed allegations that the verdict delay was connected to some form of collusion with government. I'm not saying that they're colluding with government. I am saying that they're negotiating with government. Ostensibly a knock-on effect from one of the first legal challenges aimed at overturning government's tobacco ban lodged by British American Tobacco South Africa, which later withdrew its case after consulting with government. BATSA has since reinstated legal proceedings which are due to be heard in court on the 22nd of June. So once again, there's a new court case that will start next week Monday. I will cover that. Besides the case in the Cape Town High Court, which we are still awaiting judgment on, I will let you know as soon as that judgment is handed down. It might be today, so I'm looking forward to that. FITA explained that its confidence in the legal argument to overturn the cigarette ban remained unshaken, and that no underhand dealings with government would be considered, saying, we further wish to dismiss any allegations that we are involved in any discussions whatsoever with government in relation to this matter, and in fact we look forward to receiving judgment. FITA ended its statement by vowing to update the public as soon as it received word from the court, which it last said would be Wednesday. There is no indication of when the judgment will be delivered. So this is the last statement from FITA. Well, I look at the big picture. I don't just look at what one person says and then I formulate a bigger picture from there. So based on the statements that they actually made before Cyril Ramaphosa made its speech, it was very apparent that they knew that the judgment would not be reached this week, that it would be longer. How did they know this? How did they know that they should debunk the fake news that cigarettes will not be unbanned? How did they know this? If they're not talking to government, they are negotiating and talking to government. That is obvious. And I will, as usual, place the link to the article in the description underneath the video. Please subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon. There's lots of very exciting videos coming up, not just today, but this weekend, and you can look forward to the second edition of the Rothschild video, which will be scheduled for next week, Friday. I thank you very much for all your support, all your comments. We are heading towards 10,000 subscribers now. It's really been wonderful to see the rise within such a short space of time of this movement of thought and idea that fights the New World Order, that fights the attack on freedom. I will do a video soon on the COVID passes to give you an update on that. People are very interested in this. Yesterday when I was at the beach, many people were obviously scared of having this in their life, having this control in their lives. And people are speaking out. They're not scared to speak about this anymore. Till the next video.